I live in a rural area, far away from any form of civilization. It's peaceful at times, but then, at a random time each day, I hear these screams. They seem to come from a cliff to the west of my main house, down by a river. It happens every day at a random point, and each time, it seems to be a different voice. Nobody else hears these. I've had mates come over, and when I hear the screams, they say that they don't hear it. It literally makes me feel insane. The only thing that makes me certain that I'm not imagining it is whenever I hear the scream, my husky, Luna, perks up her ears and looks toward the scream. I've called the police multiple times because I'm now scared to go down there myself. But they haven't found anything unusual down there. I don't get it. What am I hearing that others aren't? I was walking in the city center with 3 colleagues, surrounded by a busy crowd. Suddenly, I saw a tall, dark-clothed man with hurried steps coming toward us. He had a pale face, dark eyes, and full dark hair. His long black coat, reaching below his knees, was flapping behind him. I looked him straight in the face, but he didn't look at me. As he passed my colleague on my right, I turned to watch him, his coat still flapping. I turned back and said, "Wow, what a striking man, right?" But my colleague saw nothing. I thought they were joking, but they insisted no such man was there. Later, I realized this must have been a projection. Reflecting more, I noticed no people were walking between him and us, as I could see his coat clearly down to his knees. Has anyone else experienced anything like this? Last night, my boyfriend and I were driving through these empty winding back roads in rural Pennsylvania on Route 447 near Stroudsburg. There was nothing but blackness for miles. No houses, no lights. Just pitch dark countryside. The kind of dark that swallows your headlights. The only signs of life were animals. Deer darting across the road, foxes skittering at the edges, rabbits frozen in the beams. It felt like we were driving through nature's night shift. Because of the constant movement, I kept my high beams on and crawled along slowly to avoid hitting anything. Then, out of nowhere, we saw a car approaching from the opposite direction. As it got closer, it started flashing its high beams at us. I figured I was being that guy who forgot to turn his brights off, so I switched them off. But the driver kept flashing, over and over. At first, I was annoyed. Like, "Alright dude, chill, I got the message." I ignored it and kept driving. And then we came up to this bridge. Old, narrow, and completely unlit. And that's when we saw it. Something in the middle of the road. At first, it looked like an overturned trash can, or some kind of debris. But as we got closer and I flicked the high beams back on, we realized it wasn't an object. It was a person. A woman. She was sitting crisscross, dead center, in the road, completely still. Her skin was ghost pale and sickly looking, almost like it was melting off her bones. Her mouth hung open, eyes black and glazed over, just staring. Blank, empty. And behind her, off to the side, was a man. Just as emaciated, and just as pale, sitting on the guardrail, and watching her silently. I slowed down instinctively, but as I saw the man, this wave of dread hit me. This is a setup. My brain went straight to survival mode. If I stop, he's gonna pull a gun. They're gonna rob us, or worse. 1,000 thoughts raced through my mind. Are they trying to trap people? Is she bait? Are they trying to get hit? Are we about to get ambushed? I couldn't take the chance. I swerved, trying not to hit her, sped past them both, and the man on the guardrail shifted just enough to let us through. I didn't stop, and I didn't look back. I just drove. But I cannot unsee her face. I've never seen a human being look like that in real life. Only in horror movies. And not even the basic slasher stuff. This was more like Exorcist or Cannibal Horror. Completely surreal. Totally out of place in the real world. Even now, I keep wondering, what were they doing there? Why was he watching her like that? Why didn't they move? What the fuck was that? I still don't know. But whatever it was, it didn't feel human. I was on a nearly empty late-night train, staring at my own reflection in the black window. I sighed and rubbed my forehead, tired. A few seconds later, I noticed the reflection in the window rubbed its forehead. I froze, staring. The reflection was still holding the pose that I had made in the moments before. It then smiled, an expression I had never made, before the train entered a tunnel. On the other side of the tunnel, my reflection was normal again. Let me preface this by saying, I'm not really sure if I believe in the unknown, and even after this, I still can't be sure, but I definitely question it. My story is actually very simple. I'm driving down the Pacific Coast Highway around midnight. It's always really beautiful and peaceful. I come to this stop sign, and this old man in a beat-up, noisy car pulls up behind me. He's staring at me through the rearview mirror. Although it's pitch black, the gas station lights up the inside of his car. It is completely filled with junk, save for the space where his head can be seen. When I looked at him, I froze. His eyes were unreal. Not blue like a normal blue, but light and seemingly watery. His white hair was on end, like he'd been electrocuted. It was sticking up straight in every direction. His skin was paper thin. He looked terrible. He did not look like a person. He looked dead. I swear to the good Lord, this man looked dead as a doornail, driving this horrible orange vehicle. When he stared at me, I became very ill, and what my mom, I called her as soon as I saw him, tells me was a panic attack. I told her from the car that I didn't know why, but I was very scared, and I was crying. He just stared at me, and it seemed like he could hear what I was telling my mom. Eventually, we left from the light, and I took a different turn to get away from him. My mother shared with me that when she was a little older than I am now, she had the same experience inside of a movie store. I don't know what the heck I saw, or if it was even real, but what would you even call such a creature? Less than a month later, I began to have panic attacks again, and was struck with a depression so bad, I had to withdraw from school. I still suffer from them today. I'm sorry for any weird details. This happened about 6 or 7 years ago, when I was experiencing some pretty severe depression, so most of it aside from the ghost was really fuzzy. For some brief context, I lived near a heavily wooded area, and still do, and I never saw it again after this incident. From what I remember, I was sitting on the couch in my aunt's living room, watching something on my iPad, minding my happy business, and the next thing I knew, I felt like something was watching me. I put the iPad down, and directly across from me and behind the window was an apparition of some kind. She was sheet white, had long, greasy looking wet black hair, and her torso was really bloated. I remember that she had a sleeveless white nightgown that was dirty and seemed to be covered in blood. She basically looked like the girl from The Ring. I looked at her, and I felt like I couldn't move. Before I knew it, I was up and walking toward her. It was like I had no control over my body at all. I didn't stop walking until I was at the window and face to face with it. I put my hand on the glass, and then, suddenly, I heard my mom call my name. I snapped out and looked away, and when I looked back, there was nothing in the window. I still have no explanation for this.